Hey guys, so today we're going to explore the ideas of traversability in a little bit more depth. If we look back to last lesson, and I'm going to flick back to some notes from the previous lesson, lesson 6, if you're wanting to have a look in your bound reference, we had a look at these rules for identifying traversable graphs. We were looking for some features in them, and we were particularly looking at the degree of the vertices. Okay, if we had all even degree, we knew it was traversable. Or if we had exactly two vertices that were odd and the rest even, we also knew that that was traversable. But what we want to do is we want to look at some specific instances and give some proper names to the journeys we're making through these networks. So let's have a look and link what we've done last lesson with what we're doing today. So essentially we've got an Euler trail, and that's a trail that includes every edge in the graph. Okay? Still no repeated edges. As soon as we hit up repeated edges, we are going to be classifying that as a walk. So we want it to go on every edge only once. Okay, an Euler circuit's really similar. We're still focusing on edges. Okay, it's a special Eulerian trail that starts and finishes at the same vertex. So that's why it gets the circuit on it, because it's a closed kind of journey throughout. We end up where we started. And we can even have a look back at our last examples we did, and we can actually identify them. We've looked at some Euler trails and Euler circuits. So we have a look at this one. Yes, we've visited every single edge in this network, and we start and finish at the same vertice. So in that instance, we're looking at an Euler circuit. If we have a look at this one here, okay, we've got two vertices that are of odd degree, and the rest are even. And if we have a look here, we start at one of the odds and we finish at the other odd. Now, when we do that, yes, we revisit some of these vertices, but each edge is only visited once, okay? Because we don't end up at the same location, that's why we're calling this one, okay, this is why we're calling this one an Euler trail, because it doesn't end up where it started from, but we're still able to visit every edge. So what are our rules? Well, they're very similar to the rules from our last lesson. Okay, only traversable graphs can have an Eulerian trail or Eulerian circuit. Okay, to have an Eulerian trail or an Eulerian circuit, the graph must be connected. Okay, and they're tying in ideas from our last lesson. Okay, so the difference between an Euler trail and an Euler circuit in terms of identifying is when we look, at an Euler trail, that's the one that can have exactly two odd degree vertices, but the rest must be even. And a really important thing to remember is it has to start at one odd vertice and it will finish at the other. Do not try and start an Euler trail at an even vertice, because you're just going to run into some frustration there. Okay, the Euler circuit, you can start anywhere and you'll be able to finish at that same location. Okay, the key difference is finishes at a different location, finishes at a different location to what it starts at, and this starts and finishes at the same spot. Okay, so our kind of overarching idea that we've got up here in the pink is a graph with more than two odd degree vertices is not traversable, and as a consequence, it cannot have an Euler trail or circuit. Okay, so we're either looking for all even or exactly two odd. Okay, and where do we use these in real life? You might think, what is with all this randomness? Well, it's actually got quite a few applications. A postman wants to deliver mail without travelling along any street more than once. A visitor to a tourist park wants to minimise the distance they walk to see all the attractions by not having to retrace their steps at any stage. And by retracing their steps, it means going on the same edge twice. Okay, we can't be doing that. Okay, a road inspector wants to inspect all the roads linking several country towns without having to travel along each road more than once. So they can help us a lot with efficiency and knowing if we can maximize efficiency when we're looking at connections and traveling throughout these networks. Okie doke, let's jump into some examples. So you might recognise these graphs from earlier, but we're looking at them with kind of a different view now, or a different approach. What we're trying to think of now is not whether they're traversable or not, but whether we can identify them as these special trails and these special circuits called Euler trails and Euler circuits. Okay, so let's have a look and define which one? Well, in order to define whether they've got, to determine whether they've got an Euler trail or an Euler circuit, we're looking at degrees. So let's whiz around and have a look. We've got a degree of 2, a degree of 2, a degree of 2, and a degree of 2. Most excellent. All even degrees. Now, if we jump back up to our notes, when they are all even, I'll get rid of those. When they are all even, that's when we've got an Euler circuit. So we've been able to identify an Euler circuit for this one. Let's have a look at this, and I do have a slide with all the notes on it, so you will be able to copy these down at the end. Let's have a look. We've got 2, 2, 3, 3, 2. Exactly 2 of odd degree and the rest are even. That must mean, once again, looking back, get rid of those. If we look back to our original notes, Euler trails, okay, have exactly 2 vertices of odd, the rest are even. And just remember, when we actually start mapping some of these, it's got to start at one of the odd vertices and it's going to finish at the other one, okay? And so we know we've got an Euler circuit, we've got an Euler trail. Let's test this last one and see what we're looking at. 3, 2, 3, 3, and 3. So this one's not even traversable at all, okay? We know that because of all of these odd degreed vertices. So if it's non-traversable, it can't have an Euler trail or an Euler cycle. So if we're just tidying these notes up nicely, let's have a look at how we could set these out to show this point. Okay, so what I've done is we've labelled all of these vertices so we can talk about them, and I've looked here, a degree of A is 2, degree of B is 2, degree of C, and as you can see here, oops, I'll get rid of all this extra stuff over here. This is how we can show it. We've got all of the degrees listed. We're saying that that's the reason why this is an Euler circuit, and here's an example of how we could follow it. And I'll show you how to follow this. A to B to C to D to A, okay? Starting and finishing at that same point, and we've been able to visit all the edges. Same thing happens here. We can see we've got these even degrees here and those exactly 2 odd degrees. So when we have exactly 2 of odd degree, we've got an Euler trail. Okay, sorry about my messy handwriting. That's not a shock to most of you. Okay, so we can follow it. E, we're starting at E, okay? I can start at E or I can start at D. I cannot start at A, B, or C, and that's vital that we remember that, okay? So I start at E to A to D to E to B to C and D, okay? So I haven't ended up at the same spot this time, but you can see that I've travelled across all of the edges. And this one here, it's neither. Okay, it can't be an Euler circuit or an Euler trail because we've got all of these excess degrees. So hopefully we're getting good at identifying the degree of a vertex because that's our underlying skill, and then we're applying that so we can make statements about the traversability of a network. So that's going to allow you guys to continue working on with 9G. So hopefully in this double you've got the ability to work through 9F from the first video, and now you've got 9G from the second video. Good luck, and send me an email if you get stuck on any of those ideas. Just a reminder, I'm going to check your books tomorrow. Thanks, guys.